What you got there?
Lee Nielsen.
Oh, that one that you were waiting for?
Yeah, they shipped it like the day after I posted that. So maybe does someone in the guild group work there?
I wouldn't get too excited. I'd call that coincidence.
All right.
Nice.
So I got one of these things because some internet guy is always talking about how great they are.
Oh, what is it?
So I figured I would see if he was right about.
Is it the L.A. Jack?
I don't know if I'm gonna like it though. Ugh.
Yeah, baby. You're
Yeah,
gonna
it
like
feels
it.
So weird.
You're not gonna be able to mill a log with it, but you're gonna like it.
I'm sure. I'm interested to see how it performs, just because from a low angle standpoint, I know for sure. Like I've held them at the shows.
Mm-hmm.
It's a totally different feeling because I'm so used to being able to feel the frog with my index finger.
Right. Yep. And you don't have that there.
It's gonna be weird.
It just dangles. You can just pick your nose with it. There you go. You got it free now. Dude, it's awesome. Once you get used to it, it's great. I mean, I use that thing like it just because of the extra body length. It's like a really good smoother, but you can use it for, flattening tasks. I really don't touch my other planes very much anymore. Love that thing.
Compared to my number 4. Let's see how that goes.
Shannon. Shannon's muted.
Shannon, I miss you.
There we go.
There you are. Push the red button. All right, we're live, just so you know. No, Shannon, you're not live anymore. We can't hear you, dude. Let's see. Where's the flippin' chat? Can't hear. Here is AR, dummy. Can't hear you. But you look sexy. Oh, he can hear us, but we can't hear him. Okay.
Oh. Well.
So,
Perfect.
Figure it out, man. Because we're going to do this. I got to get this over with before I have to go to the bathroom. It's one of those days.
It's a potty day? You only go potty once every few days?
It's a potty day. It is a potty day, man. Oh. I threw up on Friday. Totally out of nowhere. And it really crept up on me, and I'm laying in bed like 9 o'clock and just not myself. Totally out of it. And I'm like, hey, you're making noise over there, Shannon. And so yeah, about 9:30, I just went to the bathroom, puked, felt great afterwards. I'm like, all right, cool. So I went back in the shop. I put a coat of finish on my table. And then
that's hilarious.
Yeah, and then Saturday.
Right back to work.
Yeah, well, Nicole's like, what are you doing? Why are you out? I'm like, well, I just wanted to get, I didn't want to, like, when you're finishing stuff, you want to get a coat on and just let it go. And you don't get that coat on, you're like a whole day behind. So, so I got that done. Saturday, I was fine. Hey, there he is. Now you sound good.
Okay. Weird.
Yes. So Saturday was fine. And then, what's today? Today's Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Yeah, so I was fine for 2 days, actually. And then today, it's like I'm peeing out of my butt, is what it comes down to.
Nice.
So I have a 3 o'clock doctor's appointment because, frankly, that should only be happening out of one orifice. You going? Oh, you're taking Mateo out? Okay. Can you leave Millie in here? Yeah. Did you ask if you could leave Millie in here? It's fine. It's fine.
I don't think Millie wants to stay. She looks like she wants to go.
Did you ask about
please.
Millie?
I'm out of here.
Yeah, you can leave her in here. Just leave the door open.
She doesn't want to watch the peeing out the butt.
No, she pees out her own butt. She doesn't need to watch me do it. The pre-show is a little gross today.
Very true.
Is this live? This is live already?
It is live.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I just, oh man, it is uncomfortable.
Lucky viewers.
Lucky for them. Okay, so we've got a Brusso ad today. So I'm going to have to.
We've done an ad in a long time.
I know. I'm going to have to remember to read it and read it properly. And we'll just mention Matt's video for what's new because nothing else is happening in the woodworking world.
I saw something earlier in the week, and it was one of those, like, I don't even remember what it was now, but I remember like trying to find the video on YouTube, and I was like, oh, this has been out for like 6 years, and I'm just now seeing it. I was like, no, I'm not going to be that guy who brings up the video that everyone has probably seen 1,000 times already.
That's what it used to be.
Table?
It was not an expanding table.
Was it what's the other one?
Oh.
The Renkin table or the Renkin cabinet?
No,
Oh.
God. Yeah, there's another one. I don't know. There's every possibility it was one that nobody had seen, and now I can't remember it. So it obviously made just that much of an impression on me that I forgot all about it.
Nicole's trying to close the garage door, and Millie keeps setting off the little
yeah.
IR thing, so it keeps opening up. Stay over here, little missy. You guys see that we didn't realize that Millie knows how to do high fives?
Oh, really?
Yes.
So Nicole's trying to high five Ava in her high chair at dinner because she ate something or whatever, and Nicole's going high five, Ava, high five, and Millie just keeps like throwing her paw at her. I'm like, I think she's actually responding to the command. Millie, come here, come here,
Where's high five time?
Come on, you stupid human.
let's show
You said
everybody.
High five.
Come here, hey Millie, sit. Hey, can you sit? Can you high five? Yeah, good girl. All right.
That was
Okay.
off camera, so we don't believe it
Was
happened.
it? Okay, let's go over here. Millie, ready? Millie, come here. High five. Yay!
Hey, teach your dog to jump up on humans. Good
That's right.
job.
But she doesn't jump. She's not a jumper. She only does it when you say high five. Otherwise, that would just be a bad dog.
Interesting.
Okay. You ready to do a show? I'm ready. Hope I don't poop my pants. This is what I get for making fun of
Oh, man.
pants poopers.
Speaking of which, wasn't there a kickback about somebody who said something and we get in trouble about the poop comment?
Yeah.
And it disappeared. I never got to
deleted
read
it.
it.
I deleted it because it wasn't that interesting.
Oh, okay. It looked like they were about to give me a hard time, and then you deleted it while I was reading it.
Oh, they may have. I just was like, I'm not interested in this. Okay. Oh yeah, someone says in the chat says, if Mark poops his pants, that means he has truly reached master status.
There you go.
I just
You said
Something
it
to aim
first.
for.
speaking of master status, had a funny comment come in. So some guy saw my live edge table video, and he's like, I'm really disappointed you didn't do any kind of like bent lamination or something like that. He's like, I know you're trying to keep it simple with the legs, but you know, I was expecting more. And some other guy comes in and he goes, well, if you're new to this guy, he's not quite there yet. And then the original dude comes back in. He goes, well, here's a video of him doing a bent lamination. He is there yet. That's why I was disappointed. You know, I have to disagree. So yeah, I had to reply. I'm like, yeah, I think so-and-so is the one who's new to this guy. Not that I'm like a bent lamination master, but I certainly have done it a number of times. Publicly.
He's not quite there yet.
Yeah.
You're not quite there yet.
You know, one day, guys, one day, I'll figure this bent lamination thing out.
Oh,
Millie,
that
one
is
later.
incredible.
Gotta love that. If you're new to this guy, it's like the guy who's totally new himself walks in, acts like he knows everything. Oh, shnikes. People are fun. Okay, I think I'm ready to go. I mean, to do a show, I should clarify that today. I'm ready to go could mean something else for me.
It's not quite pie time.
No. I'm fresh out, but I'm loading up on my
Oh, boy.
my next bowel movement. All right, here we go.
Welcome to Wood Talk. Now, here are three guys who think true grit starts at 220. Mark, Shannon, and Matt.
All right, it's Wood Talk number 363 for March 6th. I almost said Sith. I've got the Star Wars on the brain, apparently.
Ooh, it's the Revenge of the Sith episode.
Oh,
A little
I thought I
tongue-tied.
screwed up the numbers again.
You could have. I
Quickly
didn't
went to
even
go
check.
I was safe.
On today's show, we're talking about plywood versus solid wood for panels and French cleats. There's a third thing. What's missing here? Is that yours, Matt?
Yeah, I guess so, huh?
What's your topic?
No.
Oh, I gotta scroll down here. Oh, electrical usage versus motors.
Oh, okay. All right. Good to be prepared.
Yeah, there you go.
Just quickly mention here that today's show is sponsored by our friends at Brusso Hardware. I haven't heard from them in a while. Be sure to check out Brusso's new Photo Extra newsletter. It's a weekly update, and it's basically dedicated to customer-submitted photos. Brusso's customers work on detailed projects including ring boxes, humidors, keepsakes, gun boxes, and furniture. It's an excellent source for inspiration for your next project. The newsletter is short, quick, has great photos, and is delivered right to your inbox. So go to brusso.com/photoextra. That's all one word, and you could sign up. And of course, it costs nothing and comes into your inbox every week. You can't beat that. Inspiration coming to you. It's very helpful. brusso.com/photoextra. Check that out. We'd also like to thank folks who kind of sponsor the show. Folks who went to patreon.com/woodtalk, and they helped us out by signing up for, hold on, I'm finding my list. Signing up for donations, and it's a sort of a monthly thing. It just draws out of your account, very small amounts, but you get little kickbacks in return, and we show our appreciation by mentioning your name at the top of the show. First person is David Redinger, and it's kind of a long list here today. Sorry, I know some people kind of get annoyed with that, but we have to show our appreciation.
Who gets annoyed with that?
Shannon does.
I'm annoyed with this. I'm so annoyed.
Shannon, yeah, he hates it.
Shannon of all people.
Right? Julian Dulce, Dwayne Clark, Jerry Parker, Philip Lorenz, George Pagliarulo, David Craig, I didn't mess that up at all, did I? Mike Samuelson, George Sheenan, Chris Capistran, Michael Homer, Forrest Parker, Ron Kleiss, Kyle Princhback, Frederick McIntyre, Jennifer Bigney, Brian McCauley, and the Franks Pace. Thank you so much, folks. We really appreciate your support. Patreon.com/woodtalk if you want to check that out. So you guys may have noticed we had a new intro. And
I made second billing. Yay!
Right? You got an upgrade, man. So I figured if I'm going to do it, it's always been based on like who runs the show and seniority, right? So now it's like, okay, well, you've been here longer. You get the second
you're
place.
Giving yourself too much credit.
Yeah, that's true. So check this out. We got a voiceover guy to do the work, and it just happens that like he is a woodworker and is a fan of the show and is probably listening to this right now. So thank you so much, Jeff, for your great work. We got a bunch of these, by the way. People got sick of hearing the same like 6 over and over. So now I have like 12 of them, and they're all different and unique. And Jeff did a fantastic job with them. And I also want to thank Robert Backey. He's someone on Patreon. I asked folks I was like, you guys think you're clever? Help me write some intros. So I actually found one that I really liked, and it was Robert's, and I did kind of a play on that. That's the one that we used in the show today. So thank you so much for that, Robert, and everybody else who submitted them. And thanks again to Jeff. Hope your woodworking is going great. He's got a channel, by the way. I should probably put a link in the show notes to this, but he does like arcade rebuilds and just restores them, and it's actually really interesting stuff. And it's just funny hearing a guy with such a good voice doing normal speaking. Like he's not putting his voice on, but obviously you have to have a good voice to be able to do that stuff. So
I mean, he doesn't talk like that all the time.
No, he
That's
doesn't.
So disappointing.
That would
I always
be
hope to meet somebody like that.
Right? It might get annoying after a while.
Hey, how you doing? I'm fine.
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you. So I thought you guys might like this too. These might come in handy at various times throughout the future shows.
Cup-O Slab.
That one's really good.
Shallow and pedantic. Slabbergasted. Pinch it off.
So we're going to start having a soundboard, right? So now whenever we say something funny or witty, you just hit the button.
Yeah, just going to go
Slabbergasted.
like that. Is that good?
Nice. I think we need to get a couple of bike horns and,
Yeah, exactly. A little snare
thing.
drum and a rattle. Yeah, we'll turn this into a morning zoo show. It'll be great. Okay, anyway, let's get to our normal zoo. What's on the bench? So I'm finishing up my trestle table right now. I've literally finishing it up. I've got the tabletop behind me over here, the base parts over there, and applying a little bit of wiping varnish finish. And I think probably, I'm going to let it off gas and de-stink for a little while before I take it into the house. But probably by the end of the week, I'll have it in the kitchen. So super excited about that. This was actually a pretty quick turnaround for what it was, but it came out pretty good so far. So not a whole lot to say about it, but finishing it up.
Very nice.
Yes.
That's it? Nothing else?
There's really nothing to it, man. It's super simple.
You want to talk about how you like expanded your little dimpling effect?
We could talk about that. That goes back into last week's discussion on going
it's
out on a
different from
limb.
last week. Last week they didn't have full-on dimpling everywhere.
No,
we usually went overboard with that stuff.
Yeah,
it's everywhere.
It ties into that discussion in the sense that like maybe this is going too far now. Because that's the thing. That's the thing. I think we even talked about it last week about having to practice restraint with design, and that as you get to a point that okay, now I know I can do this dimpling, and I'm going to incorporate it here, and yeah, maybe that's taken a little bit of a risk. But if I do it here as well, is that now too much? So how do you know, like Shannon was saying, personal editing, how do you know when to pull back from that? This was actually, I would call it more of a mistake recovery. So I would not have initially planned on doing this, but I cut the through tenons with the dado stack. And I used, I don't even know what made me do this. I have two dado stacks. One is a Forest, the other is a Datonator Junior. And I know what it was. I was using the sled. The Datonator is only it's a 6-inch stack. So I wanted to make sure I had enough height. So I went with the full 8-inch size, which is the Forest version. Well, the Forest blade, it's fine. It does a good job, but it leaves pretty substantial grooves on the outer cutters. So it's severing the grain as it goes. But the Datonator doesn't do as deep of a groove. So I'm used to what that one does. So I use the Forest, and as I'm cutting my tenons, it's a through tenon. So what happens if you cut it to size and you put it all the way through? You're going to see those grooves. So I'm looking at it going, well, dang. Like, do I change the geometry of this by planing it down a little bit to smooth it out? Do I just let it go? Or do I come up with a, creative solution? And the creative solution was to do the same dimpling that I did on that walnut strip to the exposed part of the tenon. And again, I don't know that was the best thing to do. It doesn't look bad, and it's under the table. It's not like it's a huge obvious visible detail, but it's still something that did have me pondering the question like, okay, is this an example of when you take something a little bit too far and now it's too much? And I don't know. I still don't know for sure. It may be, but I don't care. Nicole was like, oh, it's fine. I like it. So that's kind of like, as long as she's okay with it, I'm good. So yeah, that's the only other interesting thing that happened with that.
Well, if she doesn't like it later, you can have Millie chew on it and add her own. Honestly,
it wouldn't look very different if she chewed on it. It looks like she chewed on it with very rounded, dull teeth. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. But I'll be very interested to get people's feedback on whether they think it was good, bad, or kind of indifferent to it. But it was fun. Fun
good
process.
Mix of all of that.
Most likely, it's it's the internet. So you'll get the.
I was really hoping you were going to do some sort of bent lamination, but
that's. I'm not quite there yet. So Shannon, he's referring to something that actually happened pre-show. I was telling a story about a YouTube comment where someone said I wasn't quite there yet to do bent lamination, and we thought it was funny. But that's it for me, Matt. What do you got going on?
That was a great story.
It's a good one, right? I'll tell it again.
I guess I've been using my sawmill. That's pretty much the highlight of things. Starting to cut some of my bigger stuff now that I did the load test I think that was 2 or 3 weeks ago now.
Mm-hmm.
But to do that, I had a bunch of cants, so it's squared up logs so that I could stack next to each other to get a really wide cut without having to sacrifice or risk a really bad cut if something went wrong on one of my big logs. So I did that. It went super ridiculously well.
Mm-hmm.
The test cut we did, the widest was 61 inches. That was going through elm, so that's pretty tough for sawing. And that was a 3-minute cut to go all the way down. That was 7 feet at 61 inches, something like that. So that was the fact that it did that.
That's pretty substantial.
The thing that I built did that just fine, without any problems, in only 3 minutes. I mean, that was the measure. The measure I have of success was somewhere here. The actual realistic thing was up here somewhere. So when I went into this, I'm you know what? As long as it cuts and it's faster than the chainsaw mill, that's my level of success. That's where I set my bar of success. Well, I ended up being a lot higher than that. So this last couple of weeks, I've been moving some of the bigger stuff onto the mill. This last week, I posted a video of the crotch slab, the smaller one I have, getting milled up, which was a really fun experience. It's incredible when you open up a log, you have no idea what's going to be in there, and it was just absolutely beautiful. It's a lot of curl and quilting and some spalting, and there's a little bit of crotch figures and bark inclusions. Really interesting stuff. I was elated, just absolutely elated.
Well, that thing was massive, and we didn't have much in the what's new section, so we were gonna mention Matt's video that he posted recently, and it's what 35 minutes roughly.
26, no,
26?
27.
27.
28.
Okay, I don't know why I had 35 in my head, but long, obviously. If you want to see some amazing
It
work,
felt like 35.
yes, it
This is
didn't
how
feel
you're
like a
going with that
minute
one.
over an hour. So, if you want to see some really impressive stuff, because I mean, you're pretty much a one-man crew when you're doing all
Yeah.
this. So, from the point of getting this thing on your trailer to getting it loaded onto the mill to milling it up to moving the damn slabs that, like, in and of themselves are too much for one person to handle. This is just an amazing and fun process to watch Matt go through. So definitely go check it out. We'll put the link in the show notes in the what's new section, but we can talk more about it now. But this crotch slab was just like, it was so huge. It was almost like two major full size trees that were just fused together. I mean, it was pretty wide.
You know what the best part about that crotch section is? That's the upper canopy of that tree.
Okay.
So that's not even like the main trunk.
Yeah,
That was like
that's
an offshoot.
so
of
there's some crazy wide log out there. So where's the rest of this tree?
In the beginning of that video, I showed me picking up that log from that log pile, and
Okay.
you can see the base of the tree in the background. It's like it was 6.5 feet in diameter,
Damn.
and I wouldn't be able to get it on my trailer or move it. And at the time, I wouldn't have any way to mill it either, so I didn't end up getting that one back here. But man, that was a heck of a dump pile.
Yeah. That is
'Cause
something else.
I started with the small logs, and the small logs were not small by any measure, but comparatively to that,
Yeah.
when you stand next to the end of a log, and it's like above your head, and like you can just barely touch the top of it. You put your hand up. Well, at least for me, it's not that impressive, I guess, 'cause I'm kind of short. But
It's a
I
small
wasn't gonna say
sapling.
it.
never mind.
It's just a
Anyway,
baby tree.
You're standing next to something that's 6.5 feet tall. That's the end grain of a log.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big log. Not a lot of people had that experience, and it was really very strange for me to be like standing next to this thing and thinking like, if only I could bring this back. Well, it's like so many things in my mind, like of like steps or predicaments I would have along the way with something that big. Where it's like, could I even get it on my trailer? Maybe. Can my trailer support that much weight? No. Can my truck pull that? No. If I bring it back home, can I mill it? No. So it's like, that's why like milling the big stuff is so much more challenging and so much more interesting. It's because of the size and the weight of these things. You're not milling little sticks that you can kind of throw around. However,
Yeah.
And
like, if you
yet,
actually want,
back to the
and yet-
Sanford and Son comment, all those things told you couldn't do it, and yet you still brought the log home.
Yeah.
I'll do
small.
something with it later. I'll just stick it
I'll
in
get to
my,
it eventually.
my backyard.
I'll put it up on.
Ba-ba-ba-ba.
I'm gonna put it up on cinder blocks for a while.
that's kind of what happened with these things. So I kept bringing them home. The log pile was out near where my wife works. So like I took my son to visit her for lunch every Thursday. I stopped by the log pile and grabbed the next biggest thing that was still there. Because the best part about this dump pile was the logs are so big, it was listed for firewood. No one had a chainsaw big enough to cut through these things. No one had a way to move these things. So they were there for a long time.
That's one of those things where you look out your window and you see like something going on at your neighbor's house and it had a down tree and you're just mesmerized watching the process of getting that thing removed and out of there. And I'm like, oh, this is great though. This is like in HD. I can actually watch this whole thing and see it go down. And I just thought it was pretty amazing, man. So good job.
Well, what was interesting is I've gotten in this habit lately of you go to a YouTube video and you scroll down and you kind of look at some of the comments first. And of course, the safety police jumped on you right off the bat. So I'm like with an eye watching this going, what are they talking about? Where was Matt unsafe? And I got to say, I didn't see it.
Nothing came out at me.
Everything. I mean, that's impressive just as a one-man operation, first of all, but just moving these ridiculously heavy things. And certainly some of it, there was areas where it was swinging, but you were totally out of the line of that swing, which I don't think that's like a conscious, I'm going to be safe here. It's more of a, holy crap, get out of the way of that.
Maybe I'll give
I
that
mean,
thing some clearance.
The weight's hanging there from the arch, so it's not that big of a thing. It's really just, I'm just guiding it down so it doesn't like go anywhere crazy, but there's
Right.
no weight on it. And to be honest, like if I didn't have like the safety police on me all the time, I would just drag those things over the pile by hand.
Right.
That's what I used to do anyway with bigger stuff than this is pull it around. These are pretty small for stuff I moved by hand before. So I wanted to show like, oh, you can do it safely or more conveniently or whatever. But I get the people like think a forklift is safer than this. I don't know how it will really be all that safer per se because there's not really anything dangerous going on.
Yeah. That's the internet, baby. That's the way it
I don't
goes.
I got nothing.
Well, speaking of the comments, we actually will be talking about lumber pricing, and that's going to be something that came out of this video at the end where Matt starts talking about how much he would sell these for, and the conversations that came out of that were very interesting. So that's going to be the weekend show, I believe. So stay tuned later in the week for that.
Sounds good. Yeah, we'll figure something out by then.
Yeah, I think so.
By the weekend, we'll figure out a show by the weekend.
Totally.
Yeah, no worries.
Got a few days.
Shannon, what you got going on?
I had my nerd weekend. I didn't spend it in the shop. I spent it in New Jersey. Which how often does anybody actually say that? I voluntarily went to New Jersey. Yeah, where
that's terrible. Don't say things
where
like
you can find exotic restaurants like Vincent's Asian and Sushi. That's a classic Jersey
Hey,
place.
Vinny, make me some sushi rolls, okay?
No, it was my birthday weekend, and the wife said, let's just get the heck out of town. So we went to Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash up in Red Bank, and I geeked out and bought some comic books and met Mike Zapsig from the Comic Book Men show, which was really fun. Bought some new artwork to go on the wall in my shop. So I've got some authentic Spider-Man artwork for the shop wall.
Woohoo! Are you coloring it in too?
Yes. Yeah, that was actually the first.
Isn't that what it is?
It's the thing Heather said to me when she was joking. She's like, "Ooh, so I can color that in," and like Mike Zapsig was like within hearing distance, and I think we almost got thrown out of the stash at that point.
Yeah, time to get our crayons.
No, it was fun. I mean, and we swung by my old neighborhood where I lived in New Jersey from 1st through 5th grade, so we got to swing by there. I got to see my old elementary school, which is like so ridiculously tiny. Like, how did they fit students inside that little building?
Well, you've gotten bigger since then, Shannon, and that's why it looks smaller.
Maybe.
Yeah. Still a pretty small school.
Yeah.
But that was always interesting. Got to see the house I lived in for a while. Knocked on the door, made them uncomfortable, that type of thing.
Oh, did you really?
Did you?
No.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say.
I was like,
you got some big ones there, man. I don't know that I could do that.
We drove by my childhood home when we were in Toronto with my wife, and she was like begging me to like stop the car so she can go out and like talk to these people. I'm like, I'm not stopping the car to go talk to some people I don't know.
Yeah.
Tell them I grew up here.
It's a bit awkward. And guess what? They don't care.
Yeah, really don't.
It's like,
In fact, it just weirds them out a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Oh man.
Yeah. But if you guys remember a couple of episodes ago, I talked about how I put down the new flooring and I had a few like empty spots that my OCD was driving me crazy. Yeah. I went ahead and ordered 5 more tiles.
Attaboy. Nice.
I managed to make it about a week and a half working in that space before I just couldn't stand it anymore and had to buy 5 more tiles. So
There you go.
good news is that I only needed 5 more tiles, so I didn't have to pay like freight shipping or anything like that. Just came via FedEx.
Oh,
So
still a lot of weight though, isn't it? How much is that? Like
It
100
was-
pounds?
probably, I mean, the box is probably, no, it's not quite that much. It's probably 50 pounds.
Oh,
So
Yeah,
Is it
that's
lighter
a
than
single
before?
box. It's not too
Yeah.
bad.
I ship lumber heavier than that via FedEx and UPS, so why not?
Cool.
So I'll be putting that down, and I will finally be like wall-to-wall rubber floor in my shop.
That's what we want to see.
That'd
Rubber
be nice.
everywhere. Well, cool. We're going to skip what's new since we kind of talked about Matt's video already. Let's get into our kickback. First one we have here is from Josh. He says, "Hey dudes, I was listening to your last show, the Donut Show, and I just wanted to let you guys. I think this might be a little bit old.
that was a good show.
Yes, we enjoyed that one. Let you guys know that Dunkin' Donuts is hot garbage compared to Shipley's Donuts down here in Texas. I don't mean that in a sense that Dunkin' Donuts are actual garbage, just that Shipley's Donuts are that much better than Dunkin'. I'm so confident that I will put my mouth is. What? In this, that I will put my mouth is? That makes no sense to me. So if you're ever in Texas, I will personally buy you a dozen delicious donuts from a real donut shop. Boom, baby, said in Mark's voice. We also, and that was in Mark's voice, oddly enough. We also have a great Tex-Mex and barbecue to wash your donuts down with. Now, I just want to clarify. It's Matt that eats the donuts. I don't. I only go there for coffee, and I'll get my son a donut once in a while. I generally do not eat their donuts, but I will drink their coffee like it's going out of style.
I guess I don't care enough. I just like eating donuts. That's what
Yeah.
they have there.
They're just free donuts as far as you're concerned.
Yeah, if a bag
Yeah.
with a donut,
They
that's
just
true.
show up on your desk.
If someone
magically.
brings me a donut, I'm probably going to eat it. So if you
Well-
give Mark a donut,
all I gotta say is I've been in Texas before, so where are my donuts, Josh? You just said when we come to Texas, so I've already been there. So
Well,
you
too
owe me
late.
donuts,
We'll ship them to you. They'll be stale by the time they get there.
Yeah. and then I can say these are garbage.
These are terrible.
Garbage.
I'm going to Dunkin' Donuts.
These are hot, stale garbage.
There you go.
Nice. This next one comes from Joe. He says, with respect to the shaving horse discussion in episode 359, I recommend Popular Woodworking's post on the Boggs influenced hybrid shaving horse developed by Tom Donahue. There's a link for it. Along with some plywood and hardwood scraps, I spent about $10 for a 2x10 and $10 for nuts and bolts to make one. Especially for someone who wants to dip their toe into green woodworking and aren't sure they'll stick with it, there are better options than spending $79 for a set of plans. There's always better options, Joe. And there's probably someone who can kick back and said, I only spent $2
That's right.
on a 2x4 and some glue, and I have a shaving horse. So absolutely. If you really want a cheap way to get into green woodworking, Google the shaving pony, and you'll have one that'll fit right on top of your workbench.
I just parked my truck on top of whatever I want to shave. It's free.
It's minus the cost of the truck.
I just want to see
I already have the truck. It's a sunk cost.
I want to see a cartoon now of a pony shaving. Because that's where my brain goes with that. So
Wow.
I don't think of what it's supposed to be. All right, voicemail. All we have is well, this is actually a joke fail. And I'm going to play it because I want the guy to get credit for it. And I knew where he was going right away. But here's the thing. Skype does not like audio things and noises. So anytime you try to, we've had this happen in the past where they try to do a joke or something that's funny. And I guess it's the, I don't know, it's like a sound feedback sort of thing that Skype has a way of like digitally removing those things from the audio. But listen, it's, let them talk.
Hey, Mark Manchana, this is Scott in California, and the last couple weeks you guys have had some people calling in with weird table saw noises, and I'm having the same problem, or a similar problem, and I thought this being an audio medium, I could just record it for you, and you could listen to it and give me your feedback, your expertise on what you think it might be. And what's weird is it was like almost an organic type of noise, not really mechanical, even a bit musical, I don't know, somewhat uplifting even, but that's kind of weird. But anyway, have a listen and tell me what you think. Love the show. Take care. Bye.
All right, so it's like another minute of that. So I was waiting for him. Is he going to fart? Is he going to where's this going? And
It's organic, whatever it is.
it was organic and almost musical, maybe a little.
Shallow and pedantic.
There you go.
Oh, yes.
So I appreciate the joke, but obviously Skype doesn't like jokes. So if you want to leave us bad joke fails, you can do that.
No sense of humor.
No, I swear, she's terrible. You can get us on Skype. The username there is Wood Talk Online, or you can call us at 623-242-5180. And you could also send us some kind of a capture thing from your device via email. That'll be good too. All right, so let's get into our email officially. Chris Tidwell wrote in. He says, I'm starting the design phase of a standalone frame and panel cabinet to house a garbage can in my kitchen. Right now, I'm leaning toward using hardwood plywood, cherry, or maple for the panels. What are the advantages of building solid wood panels versus going with the good cabinet-grade plywood? All right, so the only advantage I could think of, I don't believe in parts an advantage in this situation. One of the great advantages is that you can do some kind of a profile on your panels. You could do a raised panel. You could just make it give it more depth, make it look a little bit more interesting. But he's talking about doing a very simple flat panel. Then I don't really see a whole lot of benefit to going with solid wood, other than the fact that you could say you went with solid wood. I do think generally, right? I mean, I think generally speaking, if it's flat, that's the impression I get. Now, there are some folks who will, and I guess, no, there is a difference, and it's not just up to different people. It depends on the wood and the plywood. You can sometimes tell when something's plywood versus an actual piece of solid wood or, lamination to create a panel. So you might have a little bit of a visual thing there, but it's going to be very minute. Ultimately, if you're going for flat panels, I think, just in terms of price, it's going to be cheaper. It's going to be easier because now you just have to cut it to shape. You don't have to actually mill the lumber. And it's also going to be stable because it's not going to expand and contract. You have fewer potential problems with it. So in your case in particular, Chris, I would say there's really not much advantage to going with solid wood and only potential problems to go with solid wood. Not that you're going to have problems. It'll probably be fine. But if you're just kind of putting it down on paper, I think plywood's probably your best bet. But if someone is contemplating this, I do think solid wood can look better. And if you are doing something more decorative, you have more options with those profiles if it's solid wood versus plywood. Can you guys think of any other, like a good reason why you would like insist or say someone should go with solid wood for a simple, frame and panel design like that?
I think he's going to have more options because he's building this in his kitchen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's a single cabinet, standalone frame and panel cabinet in his kitchen. So what we don't know is he trying to match the cabinetry that's already in the kitchen? If it were solid wood, he's going to have more options when it comes to matching the color and the look of it.
Right.
Just because plywood's never going to absorb color and finish the same way, and you can't really. It's only skin deep, literally. So you can't really do a lot of messing around with it before it starts to look really, really muddy more than anything else. The other thing I would say is since it is a standalone thing, like, do you have the plywood left over to make the panel? Or are you going to have to go buy a whole other sheet to make the panel? In which case it might actually just be easier to use solid wood at that point,
Right.
I mean, that's the one problem is you can't really buy good quality plywood in less than 4x8 sheets.
Mm-hmm.
So, that if you're just going out to buy plywood for just that one door panel, that might not be the best solution.
Well, and you bring up a good point with the kitchen. If he already has cabinets there, what are those? And chances are you're going to want to do the same thing that's there just to get as close as possible. So.
Yeah, I think there's grain considerations to look at too. I mean, you don't just like, again, you get those like Cutlass programs that tell you how to stack all your parts into a plywood sheet and usually don't take grain into consideration because is it a sequence matched face? Is it a rotary cut face? What? But a panel, it'll look weird if that cathedral's kind of off center. You
or
really want that
right at the edge.
Centered. Yeah. And you see that a lot in commercial cabinetry. And like Mark, when you said it's kind of obvious to see sometimes when it's actually plywood, that's usually the giveaway right there.
Right.
It's a rotary cut sheet and it's like slightly off the center, and it's like, okay, that just was the bit of plywood left over that they stuck in there. So
Right.
There's something to be said about that, but now you're getting into aesthetics.
Sure. Yeah. Cool. Sounds good. You're up, Matt.
All right. This question is from Matt the Crotch Cremona.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. With your bandsaw mill, have you noticed an electrical bill increase due to the large motor? Also, I can't believe the mill hasn't rusted to the ground since the internet said it would over the winter without paint. Monkey face.
Oh, that's right. I remember that discussion.
Well, the winter's not over.
The internet wasn't correct.
This is March in Minnesota. The winter's not over.
Yeah.
It's just begun.
There's still time for it to rust to the ground.
Give it time, people. It'll be a pile of metal rust shavings any time now.
Oh man, some of it is painted. I'll say that much. Everything I got done before I got really cold. Thanks, guys. Really enjoy the show, and I've been catching up on back episodes. From Jonathan. Okay, so I got my electrical bill a couple weeks ago, and that covers everything that had been milled, like all the small stuff. My bill actually went down that month. Because
it's actually generating power somehow. It's a really good bandsaw mill.
The weather was warming up. The furnace was running a little less, and the biggest thing I pay for on the electrical bill in the wintertime is the blower for the furnace. If you kind of think about it, like when I'm running the mill, the cuts, maybe it takes me like a minute or two to get down the whole length of the bed for something, I don't know, maybe 30 inches wide and 10 feet long. It's about a 2-minute cut. So you're running that motor for 2 minutes. How long do you run your dust collector for? Like, I run mine for like hours if I'm just in the shop, like just whatever, table saw, jumping between machines. The dust collector stays on the whole time. And that's always drawing that constant amount of electricity. And I kind of went through, I'm not going to go into like super specifics because I'm not I'm not an electrical engineer. I don't care enough, to be honest.
That's what it really comes down to.
That's true. My motor on my
lazy.
bandsaw mill will pull When I'm feeding it by hand, I try and keep the draw between 40 and 50 amps, and that'll work out to be around 7,000 watts. So if I run a load on it for an hour, that's 7 kilowatt hours. I pay 11 cents per kilowatt hour here, 77 cents per hour of cut time on the mill. So
you're gonna have to get a second job.
Just perfect.
You're gonna have to cut back on those Dunkin' hot trash.
Yeah,
donuts.
no more Dunkin' runs. Jeez.
Dunkin' runs. Oh man, yeah, you're gonna pay more in gas to go get your donuts than that.
Right.
I mean, you can kind of
drive to Texas to get your donuts.
It's true.
They're cheaper down there. You could save money by buying cheaper donuts in Texas.
That's true.
It's
Cheaper
true.
and better.
So I mean, it's kind of an interesting thing because before I was doing the bandsaw mill and knew I wanted to do electric, I really didn't even like pay attention like how much electrical usage the equipment in my shop even uses.
Mm-hmm.
But like if I use my dust collector uses about a fifth of that power, and I'm going to run it for a lot longer. So for every minute that I run my bandsaw mill, it's like 4 minutes to run my dust collector, 5 minutes to run my dust collector. So it's really not. I don't know. You can put some perspective on it, but it's really not that big of a deal. And electricity is really cheap if you really think about it. Like if I were to build that mill with like gas or diesel engine for an hour runtime, I mean, you probably burn through about a gallon of fuel in that time, which is 3-4 times that cost, plus going to go get it, bring it back. Whatever time's involved with that.
And the other thing is when you're milling,
And it's stinky.
yeah, that
stinky.
too. Yeah.
It'll smell like gas all the time.
When you're milling, you're
Like
not
Mark.
in your shop. I do smell like gas, but not that kind of gas. Especially today. When you're doing the milling work, you're not also in your shop doing the stuff you normally do. So
Right.
it's like you're substituting one activity for, let's say you're not milling, you would probably be in the shop with the dust collector running, with your tools running. So it's just a different type of activity, substituting for the normal activity that might be on that day, which is, another reason why you might not really see much of a change in the electric bill.
Yeah, I think about like even my computer probably uses more energy in a day than I use for those tools because things always, most of the time, all day it's on running. You got to get one of those kilowatt things, those meter things to actually know how much power it's actually pulling all the time. But reality, it's in the sense of a mill and the fact that I'm a one-man operation. I'm not doing production work. The sawmill's not always cutting all the time. It's not really impactful at all comparatively to my home energy usage.
I wanted to see what my heaters were going to do to our bill, but I had a similar situation where this past month, like the last 30 or 40 days, it's been great. Like the weather has been awesome. The heaters have hardly been running. So the bill went down and I'm like, well, now that doesn't help me. I want to actually see what kind of damage these things can do, but the weather's been beautiful. So I have no idea.
I had the same problem when I did my heater in my shop, or a similar problem where I've never had a baseline for the house heating without the shop being heated as well.
Yeah.
Because I installed the heater when we moved here. So like, I have no idea how much it's
adding
costs
to your bill
to do the shop and the house or whatever the differences are. It's funny.
I actually replaced my furnace and went with a modern high efficiency. All they talk about is how much money it will save you. And at the same time, I think I sold my last power tool right around then. So I'm like, okay, we're going to save all this money because everything we're doing doesn't require power. I haven't seen any change whatsoever. So the converse to the question to Matt was, is my electric bill that much cheaper? No, not so much.
Oh, that's funny.
It doesn't.
Wow. Well, there you go.
It doesn't make a difference. So just use all the power you want, people.
Yeah. You heard it here first. It's good news.
What I want to know is when Matt's going to put a solar panel on top of the mill and run it entirely off solar.
That'd be great.
Well, then maybe that will get people to stop telling me to put a roof on it.
Yeah, it'll be a solar roof. That'll be good.
With those shingles by Tesla.
The solar tile
shingles.
things. Yeah. Those would be good.
You should do that.
Yeah, get right on it. I'm sure I'll save a lot of money.
All right, let's move on, shall we?
Yes.
This email comes from Paul, and he's wondering about French cleats for hanging cabinets. Design the recess into the back so it will hang flush to the wall, or just attach it to the back and add a small piece on the lower portion so it will hang plumb. What drives your decisions on which design to use? I will pretty much always recess it so that it hangs flush to the wall. I just think it looks cleaner that way. I have done it the other way, but that was on a sawtill in my shop. And frankly, it was because I was just like, oh crap, I forgot to recess it into the back.
Whoops.
Just nail it on there. And actually it ended up becoming a feature because kind of like Matt with logs, I have too many saws. And I needed my sawtill filled up, so the little little recess created on the back actually was a place that I could slot saws on that. Slot saws. That's hard to say 5 times fast. I was able to slot the extra saws like through that recess created between the cleat and that lower, whatever you want to call that, stabilizer piece. So it's extra storage. So
there you go.
Yeah, but you know,
you heard it first here on Wood Talk.
Well, but isn't that, I mean, French cleats are super, super strong. Certainly, that's one of the reasons you use it. But it also makes for a very clean, kind of invisible method of hanging it. So I think for the most part, you're going to recess it into the back.
Mm-hmm. I would say so. Yeah,
so
it's super forgiving, too, because if you're not really sure in your stud placement and it's a big cabinet, you could even just have like maybe 1 or 2 on the side and have the entire left side unsupported, and the whole cleat will still be pretty strong, for a pretty substantial cabinet. So it's a more flexible system. All right. Well, we do have an email extra coming up for those $4 and higher patrons over at patreon.com/woodtalk. And today we're going to talk about crosscut sleds. We have a couple different questions about that, so we're going to bat some ideas back and forth and give that a good talking to. We're going to have it out. Matt and I are going to talk about our crosscut sleds.
It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be crazy times, baby.
We'll be insulting each other like crazy.
Yep.
Our real feelings about each other are going to come out.
Biting and scratching. It's going to be awesome. All right. Well, if you want to support the show, you can. Of course, we talked about Patreon, patreon.com/woodtalk. You could also go to the TWW store, get a Wood Talk t-shirt. That's twwstore.com, or leave us a review on iTunes. And Shannon, how about you give us some contact info, and we'll get out of here.
Gladly. If you have, I'm trying to adopt the announcer voice. Gladly, Mark.
Gladly.
If you have comments, questions, or topic suggestions, I can't do it. No, can't do it. If you want to talk to us, you can do that. You can leave us a voicemail on Skype. Our username is Wood Talk Online. You can call us with a phone and such at 623-242-5180, or you can type things using a contact form at woodtalkshow.com/contact. Or leave us a comment on the website at woodtalkshow.com. Go to this episode, whatever this is, 363?
Yep.
363.
Yep.
And say, I know where there are better donuts than in Texas. And all you Texas donuts can suck it.
Or you want to tell us that electricity actually does cost money.
Yeah.
Because that's important. You know, I decided, guys, I think the perfect place to use this is if Shannon's talking too long and I'm getting bored, I'm going to go,
pinch it off.
Like that. That's the perfect use.
I agree.
I love it. Oh, great. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody, and we will catch you next time.
See you. Bye.
Goodbye.
All righty. That's a show.
Pinch it off.
Pinch it off.
That was actually probably my least good of episode. I think you guys did all the talking.
You were quiet.
Yeah, your email went pretty quickly today.
Well, we also didn't have much for what's new. My email was fast. It was generally a quick show.
I think it was actually the last question on the Patreon thing. So I think we actually used them all up.
Yeah, we do need a new one. Okay, let me open up the extra. Yeah, I found this clip too. This has been around for a while, but it's funny. Hold on. Stupid thing.
The bowl now goes to a woman operator who finishes the shaping and smooths the surface on a sandpaper wheel.
The bowl now goes to the woman operator.
Woman operator.
Finishes it on the sandpaper wheel. Love that.
Yeah. That's what Matt needs more of in his videos. Women operators.
Women operators. You need to hire a woman to turn that crank.
It's a chauvinist sawmill, Matt. You need a woman operator.
Only a woman can do this job.
Only a woman can turn this crank.
Yes, you can.
Oh, exactly.
But I'm bum.
Slabbergasted.
Yeah. Okay. Email extra. Let me make sure I got those questions.
You know, it's gonna take some time to get used to the whole like Shannon second thing.
I know.
I hear that. I'm like, this sounds weird.
I just habitually say Mark, Matt, and Shannon.
That sounds very odd.
We'll get used to it.
Eventually, it'll be like, it sounds weird the old way.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, let's see. I think we should probably kill the live stream, huh?
Okay.
All right. Well,
bye,
thanks,
live
everybody.
People.
You're dead to us.
You're dead to us now. Appreciate you